Teamfight Tactics is either the easiest game or the hardest game. Depends on how you look at it. However, I hope none of you guys are as down bad delusional as some of the people we are about to see. So a while back, I made a video about why people are not improving at TFT. I made a framework for how to get better, how to manage your mentality, and also how to manage luck and RNG. Pretty standard stuff, but then I saw one comment posted on the video like a couple months later, and it made me realize that some people are beyond help. So here's the comment. This guy, I don't know, like, here's why everything you said is BS. Every turn you get a random set of 5 champions to choose from a % chance pool with a limited amount of champions of a specific type. This is RNG. Every time you spend gold to re-roll these 5 champions, that's RNG. The hero item carousel is random and then scales later with a % chance of a tier 2, 3, and 4, and 5 champions. This is double RNG. The items that drop for you is random each game. This is RNG. There's an item that reforges at the moment. The reforge is random. That's RNG. There's an item called Thieves Gloves that randomly picks from the item pool each round. This is luck based for the item that you hope for and need to win that round. In the current season, you can pick from a random selection of items which may or may not be shadow items. That's RNG. Every monster you kill may or may not drop a question mark orb. RNG. I could go on, but I think you guys see the point. He's pretty much saying that everything is RNG. He finishes up by saying you can spend an entire game spending 100 gold total with a 15% chance to get a tier 4 champion and still not get the champion you needed for your trait combo, even though no one else was using that combo or that champion. This can apply to any tier, entirely dependent on your misfortune. The only thing that isn't RNG is where you place your selected champions, when to spend your gold, and on what, be it XP, reroll, or a champion, which makes the whole game luck-based. All you can do is start a game with a meta of trait combos, hope that no opponent is going for that build, and pray to Lady Luck that you get them before they do. GG, no re. Based on how much this guy has typed out, I guarantee you he has like quite a few hours played on TFT. It's definitely more than like 10 or 20 hours if I had to guess. So based off of that already, that's already a lot of gameplay for a game. But what he is saying, he is not wrong in a certain sense. There is RNG in the game. However, does that cause you to say like BG, no skill or something like that? Technically, he did not say no skill. But in my mind, he is using this as some sort of coping mechanism for why he loses a particular game. So first things first, after all this stuff, when there are this many random elements in a game, that actually makes a game less RNG, if that makes sense. So for example, let's pretend we are coin flipping. Originally, it is 50-50 whether you win the coin flip or not, but let's say you are an expert coin flipper and you win the coin flip 75% of the time. If you guys only flip the coin once, you have a 75% chance to win. But what happens if you flip the coin 3 times? If you flip the coin 3 times and you want to calculate your win percentage for a best out of 3, you actually have an 84% chance, increasing your win rate by 9%. You could expand that even further to a best of 5 and best of 7, where the win rate turns into 90% and then 93%. But the more instances of RNG that you increase, the more skill expression there is, and the more chances you have for outplaying your opponents. I know that is a very simplified example because in coin flipping, there isn't actually like a better coin flipper in a fair coin. But you could apply the same thing to what this guy is saying here, where he is introducing a ton of instances of RNG. You're making decisions every single time each of these things happens, and these are like, there are like 13 of them right here. And you could make changes to your gameplay strategy. You could make changes to your immediate board based on whatever outcomes come from all these situations he lays out. And pretty much, I just found this comment a little funny. You could read his aftermath here. He's not wrong. You can spend an entire time rolling gold and like you're uncontested and you still don't hit the forecast that you want. But I remember Mismatched Socks, who is arguably one of the best players in North America. He said a quote one time that really resonated with me, at least I think it was him, and he said, "You don't play what's not being contested, you play whatever you hit in that particular game." And after hearing that, you can't really complain about not being contested and not hitting, because if you look at your board and you're forcing something that's uncontested, that's probably not optimal play if you're being handed other champions instead. So that is one way to play around this guy's first major issue. And second part, he isn't wrong. The only thing that isn't RNG is where you place your champions, what to spend gold on, XP, reroll, or a champion. But he follows that up with, that makes the game luck-based. But he just pointed out places where you have choices, and you can use those choices to affect the entire outcome of the game. So Not really too sure what exactly he's going for there. Obviously, in TFT, there is a lot of variance, but over the long term, if you want to be climbing, you don't actually care that much about the variance from game to game, because over the long run, if you're better than another player, you're going to be in a higher tier than them almost no matter what. This can be evidenced in so many different ways where some of the best players, they are always going to be at the top of the ladder. Doesn't really matter what meta it is. If you are good in like most metas and you just know how to play the game, you will get to whatever rank you were previously at like a pretty high rate. Now, I know what you may be asking. There is certain parts of TFT which do make it seem like it's highly based on RNG, and that is the World Championships. One argument people make is that TFT is all luck because the previous world champion can't even qualify for the next world champion, even if a lot of players consider him the best player. And this has happened in the past. However, my response to that is not so much because TFT is a completely luck-based game. It is more so because the setup of the tournaments are not properly set for identifying the best players. And the reason behind this is because the logistics of setting up a tournament for like 50 or 100 games is just not feasible. And that's why the TFT tournament teams cannot set up an actual tournament that finds the best player, which is a little unfortunate, which I hope that they fix in the future. One way to do this is to introduce some type of league-like format where people play every week on different patches, and we see players' records or point accumulation throughout like the whole weeks of the set. But it's a little more complicated than that because you need to figure out how to do the qualification process and how to make sure that people who are losing don't completely give up and don't play the game, because another weakness of tournament TFT is once someone knows that they can't qualify anymore or move on to the next round, they kind of give up, and you need 8 players to play in order to have an actual game at TFT. Once people figure that out, I guarantee you the tournament scene will be much more lively than it is right now. Next week, we'll look into whether the Russian Secret Service is preventing you from climbing in TFT, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little analysis. If you guys want to see more content like this, let me know down in the comments below, and send me some of the comments you've seen where people may be a little out of touch with TFT, or if you didn't like watching this, let me know down in the comments as well, and I just won't make these anymore. But that's going to be it for me. I will see you all later.